So let's talk about actually creating a resume. And as I've said in previous videos, I'm not going to go too in depth with this in terms of I don't want to write the whole resume. I want your resume to have a little bit of uniqueness to it. It's about you at the end of the day. So I'm going to use a standard Google Docs resume template. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. And as I have mentioned in another previous video about the ATS, I don't want to focus here on, will this resume pass an ATS? Yes, it will. And if you're concerned about the ATS, you should watch that video. So I just want to talk about the general structure. Now, as I'm a big advocate of LinkedIn, and I've explained before, LinkedIn gives you the structure. It gives you all the fields that you then need to place into this resume. They've probably thought more about what should be contained in your resume, or as they would put it on your LinkedIn profile, than you or I have. So why fight it? Let's just go with what they've, the value that they've delivered, and it gives you a good structure. So if you've done this correctly and you've already finished your LinkedIn profile, then this should be a 2-minute job or a 5-minute job, cut and paste. So to use this template, fill in the contact details, put your name up there, and then there's this bit here. What do we write here? This for me is a cut and paste from your LinkedIn headline. Why? Well, the philosophy when someone arrives at your LinkedIn is I need to know what you do in 5 to 10 seconds without me reading through all the detail, because we all like to think that people arrive at our resume and go, oh, this looks beautiful, I'm going to spend some time here. I hate to break it to you. They don't. They scan through quickly and think, does this go in the yes pile or no pile? That's it. I often talk about LinkedIn. It's like Tinder for jobs, and they open up lots of profiles and then close them. No. Oh, yes. You need to be in that yes. So telling them in the headline the job you want and the tech stack you use, so that's front and center. Within a few seconds, they know. Now they're thinking, okay, that's what you do. Now I'm going to read through the rest of it, or scan through the rest of it, to try and find that evidence to back up those claims. Now, the one entry I would add here is in this gap, I would paste in your about section from LinkedIn and call it a summary, but literally cut and paste, and it should embellish that headline. Again, it's exactly the same as LinkedIn. So what are we discussing in that summary? It's the tech you already know. So what job do you want? And I'm interested, it's not just React, but it's Redux and TypeScript and Jest. If you want that sort of job, obviously change this for the tech that you want to use. And then, well, what else are you learning now? Maybe you finished a bootcamp and they taught you React, but now you're learning about testing or about state management or something like that. What are you learning next? And then where can we see evidence of it? If you do have experience, so that you can just fill these in, job titles, I encourage you to, if you've had obscure job titles in the past, where some companies are fans of giving you weird titles that don't mean anything in the real world. No one cares, and your current employer is not going to see it. Hopefully you're not applying in the same company. So change the title to be something more meaningful. You don't need to change it to senior if you're junior or anything like that, but give it a relative title that means something in the real world. And then I would include the tech, because what actually happens, same as on your LinkedIn, is when someone arrives and sees whatever you've mentioned in your headline, they're then looking through all the experiences to say, okay, when did you start using those technologies? Are you currently using them? And how frequently can they see it? So that's how we fill out the experiences. Then the bullet points, the description that goes underneath each one, I would use 3 to 5 bullet points. What did you write? What did you learn? What was the business benefit? What were the challenges? How did you overcome them? Listing the skills here is a nice, neat thing. If you're going to put lots and lots of skills, make sure the skills that you want to be known for are at the top or easiest to find, because they don't want to have to search through a list. Often there can be conflicting things. Maybe you've done Python and Java and Node, and they're thinking, well, which one do you want to do now? That's what I call a gap. Now the recruiter's thinking, if I jump into an interview with this person, they say they want to do the other technology, that's a waste of time for me. So being specific about the job you want, marrying that up with the headline and seeing that as your top skills, that goes to confirm something. And the last point, because most of these things you should be able to fill in on your own, the last point I want to mention about is ordering. Now, traditionally, the resume is written for people who have an abundance of experience in the field that they're going into. And if you're a junior right now, or you're trying to break into this industry, you don't have much experience. So the most important sections are high and to the left, right? Start here and we're reading down. So this experience is front and center, and it's like drawing attention to the bit that you don't want people to look at. I'm often reminded of a conversation that was recorded between Arnold Schwarzenegger and another bodybuilder, and the other bodybuilder was talking about being concerned about making certain poses during his demonstration because he didn't feel he had those particular muscles in that area, whatever it was. Say it was legs or something. And Schwarzenegger said, if you don't have that muscle, don't do that pose. And he's like, don't highlight the things you don't have, focus on the things you do have. And I want to bring that tactic back to your resume. So if you're brand new and you don't want people to be looking at your experience, i.e. it's not really relevant, that's not the best value for you to showcase, maybe it's about your projects, then we can flip the order and you can put projects, then education, and then experience. You don't have to have it in the same order as everybody else. What I would ask you to do is, if someone does look at your profile and was to say to you, okay, what is the one thing you want me to see? What is the value that you most want to communicate to me? Make sure that's high up. Make sure that's going to be read first. So when someone reads your profile, they don't arrive and go, oh, this seems like a nice human being. I'm going to read about their skills and see if they're relevant to the job position I've got. They don't do that. They arrive at your profile and go, are you valuable to me? Can I make money out of you by selling you to my client as if I'm a recruiter? So they look and go, okay, you got the right skills. Okay, now I'll read through to see what have you done with those skills to see if I feel confident. Then I'll click on links to try and get to supporting evidence to feel more confident. So when someone says, okay, the resume looks good, but what evidence do they have? Oh, they've got this link, this link, this link. And that's what sells the story. But they're not going to read your resume if you haven't sold them in the first few lines. So putting the value as high up, and that's why the headline's so important. That's why the about section, or summary as we'll call it here, is so important. And that's why flipping the order and make sure the value is as high up as possible is really important. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that clarifies a few things and gives you some indication of how I want you to fill in a resume. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.